and good morning. It's only been the last 15 or 20 minutes that I even knew what I was going to be talking about this morning. It's one of those mornings that there wasn't a clarity very quickly, certainly, as to what the topic would be, either before I got out of bed or in the meditation room or at any point in my morning so far. When I came to the computer, I still was clueless. In fact, for over a half an hour after I came to the computer, I was still pretty clueless about what I would be talking about today. And I finally had to select something because I was getting nervous. The time was rapidly approaching when I needed to begin, and I still didn't know what it was going to be. And I want to share that with you. I am sharing that with you because I want you to know that sometimes that's the process. I don't always have a clear picture of what it is that I'm supposed to share on a given day. And yet I do feel it's my mission, my mission impossible that I have accepted to present daily this journey of ascension that we're all going through, this journey of transformation, if you will. Anyway, let me jump into it and share what I finally came up with. The title is 2012, Releasing Ourselves from Our Past. I know it is my tendency to see myself and others as we have been in the past. That is not an uncommon tendency, I'm sure. Nevertheless, as we move into the energies of transformation, it is essential for all of us, or as many as are willing, to get beyond how we have viewed and judged ourselves and each other. The way we have done it has produced cycles of repetition. If we can only see where the future is beckoning us to go, we can break the pattern and move into the world that has only existed in our best dreams of a world that works for everyone. I have to admit that the deciding factor in what I was going to talk about today came as the result of something someone posted. When did he post it? About an hour ago. Well, it's a little over an hour ago probably now, but on my Facebook page, it was posted by Reza Sahami. I have no idea. I didn't look up where Reza comes from, whether it's a man or a woman. I don't know by that name. It's not one that I'm familiar with. But I am familiar with Dieter Braun, Indian in the Machine. I've read much of his material over the years. And I think this is him speaking, looking at what's written here. It says, I'm glad that you are changing course about your previous belief about President Obama and beginning to realize that Obama is a higher being. He is ascended master, which is playing double agent. You can do some spiritual research about him and you could find who is he really. Archangel Michael, through Rana Herman, years ago confirmed that he is a higher being. It's not written in good English. It's probably someone whose primary language is not English. But that's how it's written, which may mean it wasn't Dieter that wrote it, because I don't remember his English being that awkward in construction. In any case, yesterday at the workshop, that same subject did come up, and it did cross my mind a couple of times. when I laid in bed before I got up this morning and in the meditation room. It did cross my mind that that should be the topic, but it wasn't a compelling feeling to talk about until I got this confirmation, if you will, in regards to Obama. We did talk yesterday in the workshop about how we tend to hold each other into the way we've perceived it. We form opinions about people, and we don't give them room to go through transformation. We try to hold, we have a tendency, I have a tendency to hold them in that place of judgment. Well, that's how they've always been. You know, they're this way or they're that way. And I realized as we were talking about it yesterday that people do that to me, and I don't like it. People that remember things that, the way that I held conspiracy theories, first of all, 10 years ago, is not the way that I hold them today. 10 years ago, I was still in the learning phase of realizing how much lies have been incorporated into the structure of our culture and society. And I was not nearly as optimistic as I have become in regard to that truth or those truths. I was very much, for example, against the Bush regime. I mean, I was furious that he was not elected in 2000 or 2004. In fact, I don't know if he was ever elected legitimately any time in his entire life, because he was part of that Bush cabal, that evil cabal that fixed elections, and they still are working along those lines. But it's beyond politics. It's even in our personal lives that somebody does something that affects our lives, and we tend to hold them in that place. I do that with lawyers. I do that with judges. I do that with people that I know. And people have done that to me. And folks, we do need to get beyond this. We do need to stop holding each other and ourselves, as I said in the blurb, in a place where we do not allow the transformation to take place, because this is the window of opportunity. This is the time of transformation. It's where we are. As a culture, this is where we are. And the whole cosmos is watching, because as I shared in the workshop yesterday, I don't believe ever, not ever, anywhere, at any time, in any place, has there been a group of people that are able to bring the energies of ascension, if you will, the energies of transformation into the third dimension. In other words, to connect our higher self, the spiritual, invisible part of us, with the visible, physical part that's here on earth. And I believe that's a continuity that is ultimately critical and essential in this whole process. In the past, when there have been golden ages, they have often come as a result of and following the destruction of the old paradigm. The old paradigm could not exist, and so we were thrown back into a more simple way of living by necessity, because the old way of living had been destroyed. That happened with Atlantis, and I'm sure it's happened on cultures on other planets, because that has been the pattern, the repetitive pattern of transformation. Destroy the old, wipe it out, and start over. where I see humanity and planet Earth today in 2012 is we have the opportunity to do this different in a manner other than the way that we've done it in the past, the way that has been done by creation or in creation. We can do it by transformation rather than destruction. But that means we have to take responsibility for having held the old pattern and repeated it over and over again. We've held it in place. This is the way it's done. You destroy what's bad and you bring in what's new. But see, there's no wisdom gained from that. So there's no longevity to it. It cycles, it cycles, it cycles. And we look at the astrological cycles and we see, oh, this is the way it is. It goes around and around and around. Why does it have to keep going back into dark ages? Why does it have to keep going back in to what we've come out of? Does it really have to do that kind of cycling? I don't believe it does. Now, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I have an idea that's totally off the wall. But I believe if we can only see the good and the gifts in what appears to be so terrible, if we can only see, for in Obama's case, if we can only see the possibility that yes, he is an ascended master coming down and playing a double agent role, and allow him to transform his expression in the role that he's playing so that he actually does the right things instead of all the wrong things. Can we do this? Can I do this? I ask myself. And sometimes it's so hard. It's so hard for me to forgive me and to see myself as not divorced from my past, but having gained wisdom from my past. And there's a difference there. I mean, to want to get beyond the things in myself that I don't like, well, that's one thing. Destroy them, wipe them out, get rid of them, push the ego down. Get rid of the in the culture, get rid of the technology that has seemed so destructive. But the technology has been a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it's been destructive, but on the other hand, it's been a blessing. And that's true of our ego. That's true of everything in our lives, everything in our world. There's a good side to it and a bad side to it. Which side are we going to look at? Well, I think we need to look at both of them, honestly. But we need to understand that the past has always caused in the present a repetition of that which has been. And I have the feeling, I have the sense within myself that this time the future is literally pulling us forward into a greater potential and a higher possibility of what can be. What if we just simply transformed that which was not working in the world? What if we just allowed the people that played the dark roles, and they're all people, even extraterrestrials are people. They are people. They are beings like we are. They are beings, whether they're from the past or from the future or from another dimension or whatever, however we want to see them, we're all beings. We're all people. Even the tree people and the mineral people. We're all souls having an experience of creation, having an experience of living in a reality that we have created that gives us enough contrast to develop wisdom, to develop and hone our gifts and our talents and our abilities to become all that we are capable of becoming. So my challenge, as I'm looking at this, is to let go of first of all, I have to let go of how I think I am. I have to be willing to let go of those choices that I've solidified in the past and said, well, this is how I am and I can't be any other way. I have to be willing to let go. And I don't know how to do that. Yesterday I talked about leaving the how to God because it seems so impossible to get beyond this recycling pattern that we all do. We just recycle the same things, the same energies, the same thoughts, the same feelings, and ultimately the same circumstances over and over and over again. We just keep coming back to the same place, to the same place, to the same place. Totally repetitive. Totally repetitive over short cycles and longer cycles, but it's repetitive. Can we break that pattern? Is it possible? Is it wise to break it? Or must it always be that way? In whether we can break the pattern or not, I know we're moving into another golden age. That's beyond the shadow of a doubt in my consciousness. We're moving there. That's where we're going, folks. And it's going to be beautiful. But if we can allow the continuity without a lot of destruction, without a lot of cataclysm, personally and collectively, I think we have the opportunity to go where we're humans, where sentient beings have never gone before. And we are, as it says, Obama is an ascended master. I believe all of us are ascended masters. Either we have been in the past at some degree, or certainly as we are going to be in the future, because we're in this thing together and we're here to ascend. We're here to transform everything in our, quote, reality, so that we can experience the loving kindness and the forgiveness and the renewed vigor of a culture that indeed blesses and honors every one of its members and every individual is held in a place of respect and love. Can we do this, folks? I believe we can. I believe we will. Namaste.